want to know who's burdened by this debt? Look around you. Everybody. I literally have 76-year-olds in my district, senior citizens on fixed incomes, still paying student debt. I have parents who are in their upper 60s who cannot retire because they took out Parent Plus loans and they are still paying on their kids' loans. We have a whole generation of people that cannot start a family, grow a family, start a business, purchase a home because of this debt. And of course, this $2 trillion crisis, the weight of it is disproportionately on Black and brown borrowers. I'm going to speak for a moment about why this is a racial justice issue. As a Black woman, my lived experience is consistent with what the data shows us. Now, we've been told we live in a meritocracy and that education is life's great equalizer. And the way to close the racial wealth gap was for more Black Americans in marginalized communities to pursue higher education. We did that, but it has not narrowed the racial wealth gap. It has grown it. And 85% of Black student borrowers had no choice but to take out loans to pursue higher education because of draconian policy violence like redlining, which denied our families' ability to build generational wealth. We're then 5 times more likely to default on those loans. And then peep this, 20 years after we take these loans out, Black borrowers still owe 96% on their loan. White borrowers, 6%. And moreover, 40% of those that are burdened by debt didn't even get a degree. And we're not even talking about those who have been preyed upon by the deceptive business practices and predatory marketing of for-profit colleges and universities. Look, we know that there are broader reforms and work that needs to be done to make college more affordable. We know we need tuition-free college. We need to invest in our historically Black colleges and universities. We need to expand Pell Grants. That's all true. But canceling student debt by executive action at $50,000 will close the racial wealth gap by 30% and immediately alleviate the hurt and this burden for millions of people. If we do it at $50,000, 48 million people will no longer be burdened by this debt. So this is a racial justice issue. It is an economic justice issue. It is a gender justice issue because 2/3 of this nearly $2 trillion debt are carried by women. And this is a smart strategy as we seek to recover from this pandemic-induced recession. This is a way to jumpstart the economy. So President Biden has the authority. We have been out here for months organizing, mobilizing, telling the stories to illustrate this hurt, how far and how deep it goes. And we were successful 3 times, and we thank the administration for heeding our calls and putting a pause on student loan payments during this pandemic. And that has been game-changing. People have been able to use that money to remain safely housed, to purchase essential goods. Some people have even become first-time homeowners, and that's just been in 2 years. So imagine how transformational, how meaningful, how impactful if we see student debt cancellation by executive action at $50,000. I want to thank this entire movement. We are closer than ever before to getting this done. I am in ongoing communication with the White House. In fact, just recently was a part of an effort with the Congressional Black Caucus and a meeting, a negotiation with the White House. And so we are closer than ever before to getting this done. The president was given the authority through the Higher Education Act. Now, let me say this. I know none of you on here are saying, just write the bill. Why executive action? Guess what? We've written bills. But you see the stagnation currently, what is happening as we continue to be met with Senate Republican obstruction on issues of consequence to everyone who calls this country home. This is something that the president can do unilaterally, without reconciliation, without a single vote from Congress. And so he has the power, but the stroke of a pen, to lighten the load of the American people. And so we're going to stay out here and keep organizing, keep mobilizing, keep amplifying and telling your stories, listening to those who have been closest to the pain, because you deserve to be closest to the power, driving and informing the policy making. And we just want you to know that we see you. And the last thing that I want to say is someone who did default on my loan, and it took me a very long time to pay it back. There's so much shame that goes along with the burden of this debt. It's not only about the ways in which we're being denied economic freedom because we're saddled by this, but people are carrying so much shame that they have debt. This isn't a character flaw. We know you're working multiple jobs and you still can't get ahead. And you're barely touching even the interest on these loans. And if you do end up paying them off, which, by the way, 40% of people will never pay these loans back. So this does not contribute to the deficit in any way. If you do end up paying your loans off, you end up paying much more than you originally even borrowed. So this is a nearly $2 trillion crisis. The burden is heavy. We can alleviate it, and we just have to keep the pressure up, because what I know is that government doesn't always lead, but it does respond. And in this moment, we are going to keep pushing until we get a response that is responsive to the calls and the needs of the diverse coalition, multiracial, multi-generational coalition of voters, issues-based activists who were carrying signs saying cancel student debt, who delivered this Democratic majority. This is not charity we're asking for. This is restitution. We're saying keep your word. Keep your word. Cancel this debt. Just do it. You can do it by executive action, stroke of a pen. And in the meantime, we ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. We're gonna stay out here. I'm happy to be out here with my activist family. Shout out to the musicians, because there's never a revolution without artists. So shout out to the musicians and the artists, and thank all of you for being a part of this movement. But let's keep it up. We're closer than ever before. They are listening, and that has everything to do with your vigilance and your tenacity. So let's just stay at it.